We have the latest on Joe Burrow and that injury and that surgery question mark and that 3 months question mark that he'll be out. And then question mark, should they bring in a backup quarterback for Browning question mark? Is he in New York in a quarterback room? Did he play for the Browns last year in a snow game? Question mark. We'll get to some answers on today's show with three-time Super Bowl champion, football night in America analyst Devin McCourty. I'm just going to let him talk about his love for Mac Jones and how happy he was, I'm sure, to watch him thrive for the Bay yesterday. Kind of a wild week 2, wasn't it? Do you guys have any questions for Devin McCourty? Hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up on Threads also. I'm liking the Threads on the old Instagram right now. I feel like it's like more narrow, less. I like it. If you guys want to follow me on Threads, go ahead, give me a follow. Give me your questions for Devin. That's where I'm looking for him over there. Give me your thoughts on week 2. There are 10, 0-2 teams, I think, something like that. Of course, got one big game tonight. And a lot of my questions about week 2, I'll be so honest, have to do with like, how do the Chargers look? Like when we're talking about like, am I worried about the Chiefs or can they do it? I'm actually not. They'll figure it out. But if the Chargers come out looking crazy good again, I might have a little something to say. Might have a little more worry in the Kansas City Chiefs direction. Week 2 was a little bit of a roller coaster, a lot of things happening. This Joe Burrow news. No secret to anyone that I love the Bengals. I will always root for them to go to and win eventually a Super Bowl. Is this the year? I mean, they have a 2-0 start that coach seemed to be really enthusiastic about. They never have these starts in the Burrow-Taylor reign, okay? And this news this morning that he will require surgery, it's going to keep him out till about December. 3 months is what the streets are saying. I just think about what a bummer that must be for him, right? I think about that. I think about his fans, his family, the foundation, the people that I've gotten to interact with a little bit. This is a dog. This is somebody who wants to be out there. This is somebody who is really tough despite the crazy internet, maybe thinking otherwise this morning. But I do want to make it clear to everyone, this is not, it's a little subjective because I believe and I love them. It's true. And love maybe blinds things, but they're very much in it. This isn't a season ending situation. And I think it could have been a lot freaking worse. Okay. And the nice thing to see is when these waves of adversity are thrown at a team, you let other people step up and do things for you. And you saw it yesterday with the Niners and Mac Jones and backup quarterbacks being suitable. When this injury happened, I literally thought, oh my gosh, my head went to Browning against the Jags in 2023. He's been there. He's done this now. He's 4-3 as a starter. He wins yesterday against Jacksonville. Yet again, he sort of settled in. And I was looking at like how proud Zach Taylor was in this press conference. It was not a somber tone. It was not a sad day. And that must be a tough line to walk, but I was not getting woe is me. Let's wrap it up. It's happened again from the Bengals leadership, which is really, really matters. And I will say, this is why you do pay these stars to sort of pick it up when one of them goes down. Joe went down, leaves the game. You have T making this incredible touchdown grab, this incredible catch. Jamar stepping up, Trey Hendrickson with he slapped around Trevor in the beginning of the game. Then he closed it out for this team as well. And I will say the resilience out of Browning, who settled in after throwing 3 interceptions. The fact that they win this game after 3 interceptions, losing Joe Burrow, it says a lot about what this team is made of. And Browning, to his credit, and he was at Jeff Ruby last night, I heard, celebrating as he should. And he'll now get his starts. And maybe even more chemistry, which is nice to have depth in that way. And he's one of the better backups in the league. He never got rattled. He kept firing. Brilliant comeback down the stretch. That's the kind of stuff you should celebrate and be excited about after the game, despite losing Joe. And, to dig deep and reach deep and sort of get yourself to where you need to be to start the season 2-0 and on top of the division as we speak. Now, the Ravens looked really good yesterday. So that was a tough one to watch as this was unfolding with Cincinnati. But they don't have as good of a record as Cincy right now. Browning is show. I have faith in Browning. I really do. I'm not just saying that. I have faith in him. I think he can do his thing and they can still be productive. And he gives them a chance over these next couple of months. I do think that they'll probably add a quarterback for depth. I think I'd like to see. I mean, Cousins is out there. Okay, this offensive line is a problem. Cousins could be suitable for that. But Jameis would be so fun, right? So fun behind Browning, I'm saying. So if those of you already jumping all over me on threads and Twitter saying, no, we have our guy. We trust. I'm in on Browning. But I do think adding the idea of depth and reaching out and doing their due diligence, I'm happy to hear those little rumors and ravens flying around about them seeing what's available, who's available, and how that can shake out. This has to be said, though, as you know, we're talking about, oh, they're okay because they have these pieces that they paid that Joe pushed to get paid too, right? Openly. I want T-back will work. I want Trey, like Trey should get paid, all these things. Jamar, his guy, obviously. I don't know how much pushing has gone in the direction of the offensive line or why it continues to be this like banging my head against the table thing from fans that I very much have sympathy for. Like I get it that he has, it's the definition of insanity a little bit, right? We can admit, because you pay, you have your most important asset and then protecting him has to be a thing. And this line, and I'm not singling anybody out, but, and they this morning, they're beating themselves up, I'm sure, a ton anyway. And it wasn't some crazy hit on him, but it's just the story, right? It's the story year in year out. This is year 6. It's kind of mind numbing, right? This line is ranked bottom 6 every year that Joe has been there, all 6 seasons. And we're 2 weeks in and he's hurt now. And I think that, they haven't found a way to run the ball consistently to sort of maybe take and alleviate some of those things. They're going to have to figure this out with Browning so he doesn't get hurt. It's why do you think they're calling to add quarterbacks? Because they're like, oh, snap, this could happen in a second with Browning. There's this idea, though, that I'm seeing on Twitter that these idiots are just tweeting and whatever that, he's made of glass and he can't stay healthy and like he's overrated because he's always injured. Or Browning looks just as good. This is, as we all know, we have got to do a better job of protecting him. He is tough. Okay. The best overall O-line ranking this team has had with him at quarterback is 27th in the National Football League. That is not okay. As far as the timeline, he could be back for the last 4 to 6 games of the season, somewhere around the first or second Ravens game, which I'd love to see him back for. That's I'm championing. I know this next month of the schedule, it's very brutal. Oh my gosh, they've got 5 straight against playoff teams, 3 of those on the road. Bengals have a 2-0 head start. Zach Taylor seemed really juiced about this performance and the guts his team showed. And they've got, some playmakers on defense that will make the plays to tilt it and get them the win. They got to tread water, and let Joe come back to final month. So I still really, really like their chances. Let's see what FanDuel Sportsbook has to say. Do they? No, they don't. Shoot, they really don't, huh? Plus 800. They dropped to that to win the North. Ooh, they're behind the Steelers. Yowza. They're plus 176 to make the playoffs. That's around where the Seahawks and Raiders are. Wow, if you do believe in Browning, if you believe in this team, that is quite a value to be had over on FanDuel Sportsbook. I have to put a call into those overlords over there later today. Like, I understand Hamilton. Is that fair?
I mean, yeah, I guess with the way the schedule's looking, no Joe Burrow, but that is a huge drop. They were ahead of the Steelers this entire offseason, and to take that significant a drop behind them and, the playoff odds, they were favored to make the playoffs all offseason too, and after a 2-0 start, they've fallen that far. Doesn't show a lot of faith in Browning, but as you said, I think from what we've seen from Browning, I think those odds should be better. Yes, it's going to be an uphill battle, but those odds should be better.
We got to talk about the Colts. Okay.
Yeah.
I love these Colts. I'm actually doing some work for the Colts these next couple of weeks. I'm excited about them. Love visiting them. It was a must to go see them at camp with that maniac Steichen. And look at them. What a performance and a win over a Super Bowl contending Broncos team. The Denver defense is one of the best in the league, without a doubt, right? Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor never gets any love. He's always incredible. Daniel Jones, the balls that it took Ballard to make this move to go for Daniel Jones and watching them move the ball up and down the field on them. DJ, 316, confident as ever. 5 different receivers put up 40 or more yards. JT, like I'm saying, 213 total yards in the score. That's just like a regular run-of-the-mill stat line for this guy. Year in, year out. The Colts have not put up these points, though, in this kind of a game. Man, since Peyton Manning, I'm guessing, like the 15 years ago, they're the first team in the entire Super Bowl era to go through the first 2 weeks of the season without a punt. That is so exciting. I love seeing, with the Angels in the outfield vibe of the late great icon Jim Irsay, watching his 3 daughters celebrate that win, even just watching like the tweets. Kaylin tweeted something yesterday, like that was fun. And it's so great to think like what winning does, what putting it all together sort of does, getting that quarterback piece that works. And we'll dig into that maybe with Devin McCourty here in a little bit. Why is it working so well with Daniel? Why wasn't it with Anthony? Why wasn't it working for Daniel under Dable in the Giants quarterback room and offense? But it's working, and Steichen is so fun. And seeing what they did against the Broncos yesterday told me everything I need to know. The Colts O-line, by the way, when we're talking about the Bengals and the O-line and what they're not doing and other quarterbacks and other situations around the league, they're such a difference maker. To Jonathan Taylor, of course, to Daniel Jones, of course. That's probably it, right? That's what he didn't have. It's pretty obvious. I give them a lot of credit for what they've done to put Daniel, whoever the quarterback, can be in the best spot. And I got to give credit. People love to clown on Ballard for several picks, several situations, several whatever you want to say. Ballard, the cojones it takes to take a chance on Daniel. You're going to get all the backlash. You're going to have to deal and trust that Steichen can handle a delicate quarterback situation, a true competition through camp. And he built up this roster around him with all of that talent. By the way, Jane Steichen, friend of the show, very early coach of the year favorite right now. I love to see this. We got to get this out onto the internet. Plus 650, the favorite to win coach of the year. He's ahead of Pete Carroll. He's ahead of Matt LaFleur. He's ahead of Jonathan Gannon. I love that. His fellow former Eagles coordinator, who, by the way, and we'll get into this at some point very quickly, the Cardinals sitting there, tough schedule. They're sitting there at 2-0, undefeated to start the season in the NFC West. If you take a look at the odds here, the Colts have overtaken the Texans as the favorites to win the AFC South, and I think they might. And I can't wait to see those Colts-Texans game and see if the script gets flipped. If the Texans lose to the Bucs tonight, by the way, they fall to 0-2. So the Colts would be in control of the division, and they might not give it back, which is really sort of fun, and I love that. Okay, we're going to take a short break here. We'll have Devin McCourty on the program, our best friend. We go way back. Love ya. You worked all last night. Let's get into the Mac Jones love fest after the break. Coach of the year fave? Let's go.
No. I mean, hard to find anybody that's done a better job so far.
Yeah. I want somebody to do like a ranking of like what are the most important actual things when it comes to like, I'm hearing so much. These whole like 2 weeks have been about confidence. Like, is that more important than an O-line? I don't think so. Is it? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. But like the confidence you're handing, yeah.
The O-line
is
breeds
O-line like number one?
It's so much more important than I feel like it always gets overlooked, and it's always the most important thing. If you're not good in the trenches, it doesn't matter what you do. Up in New England for all those years, like that, that's why Devin has those rings. I'm kidding. I want to talk about the D-line too with Chicago, because that was, I think, the thing that's not being talked about, and like the fun dramas and histrionics between Ben Johnson, the Lions, the offense, the running up the score, all those things is like, where's Chicago's D-line? What? Huh? Like, let the offense might figure itself out. Devin might have a different opinion. I don't know. I'm just like over talking about it, but I'm like, can y'all, it's like how I used to look at Brady. Like, Brady can literally tie his shoes and write some postcards and go to the mailbox and drop them off. Like in the time that he has to throw the ball. Like, he can literally like bunny ears loop both of his shoes. And then that's what I saw out of Jared yesterday without Ragnow. Like, are we gonna like make him a little bit uncomfortable? He looked
like he was getting palmed with fan leaves back there, just having his way.
Yeah. And the secondary didn't hold up its end either. It was obviously it all plays in concert, but
Yeah,
it was rough. I mean, yeah, you can't, no matter what you want to say about Caleb, you can't give up 52 points and expect to win a game.
crazy. Um, we have to get into Chiefs Eagles with him also. I'm not
Yeah.
worried about the Chiefs, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I was
We
in
have
Kansas City this weekend.
yeah. I was gonna say we have the odds there for the Chiefs too. FanDuel Sportsbook is less worried about the Chiefs than they are the Bengals. Yeah.
I
You
would
see,
agree.
they're still getting the fifth best Super Bowl odds. They
Yeah,
still have the second best
because
odds in that division too.
because week 5 is going to come along, but it will matter. I'm telling you, it'll matter. I'm not going to say anything about this until I see what the Chargers look like tonight. Broncos,
That's fair.
they got to pull it together. They got.
Can he bookend the week with another big quarter? Not starting like that. Ball's out and recovered by Divine Diablo.
Joining me right now, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, all-pro safety analyst on NBC's Football Night in America. Welcome back, Devin McCourty. And I'm loving these. What do you call them? Like TikToks, these viral moments that you and Maria and Jason. Who's the ringleader of that? How are those coming together? I'm obsessed. I literally look for them every week.
This is all Maria. She's the TikTok person, so she comes in, and then we have one of our social media people, Mackenzie. She's a director, and last night Chris Sims said, "Man, this is my very first rap video." So we're accomplishing all kind of things over there.
I wish we had it. Maybe we can pull it for a break or something. But it's every week, and you crush it. You guys all collectively crush it, and I bet the outtakes are even more hilarious. If we're looking at last night's game, I guess the story is Atlanta's defense. I mean, so long this team has been taken to task for not having a pass rush. They lose Grady Jarrett to Chicago. We'll get there. We'll get there about that D-line. But they had 6 total sacks last night. Are you buying that this Falcons defense has turned a corner?
Yeah, Jeff Albrecht is a really good defensive coordinator. The thing that shocked me last night, they had a couple rushes that you showed coming out of the commercial break. No one blocked anybody. Like the guy on the end of the line of scrimmage had a free run at JJ McCarthy. So they played well last night, but some of it was also like Minnesota. What is going on here? How are you not blocking guys that are on the edge of the line of scrimmage? But I think Atlanta played well in week 1. They just lost at the end of the game to Tampa Bay, who won that division last year. So they're going to be there. I think you spend 2 draft picks on Walker and Pierce. You want them to play well, and they both had sacks last night. So things are looking good for Atlanta so far.
I said many times in the offseason that the Vikings better win the Super Bowl because to me, they had it. They decided to say bye to Sam, big game, whatever. They were contenders with him, and then they didn't go get Aaron Rodgers, who they could have. So it's, you believe in JJ so much that y'all better go win the Super Bowl. And I kept being like, there's no hold poke. And then I'm looking at this O-line, and I'm like, they're really putting this young quarterback in a bad spot. There was no fourth quarter magic in this one. How should I like reevaluate my expectations for him this year and this team?
Well, they need Darrisaw to come back, coming off the ACL last year. He's a huge point. But I also think when you think about this game Sunday night, think about this. You play on a Monday night against Chicago. Then JJ McCarthy's fiance has a baby. So he's doing that. You can't install and do as many things as you probably wanted to going into a short week because you're not practicing Wednesday. You have this young quarterback where he probably needs to get on the field and see things. So for Atlanta, everything you saw in week 1 in that Chicago game, for the most part, what you game plan for is what you got in the game. So they were a little bit out of a disadvantage going into this game. Now, again, I don't think this is a Super Bowl team with JJ McCarthy. I think it's a lot to put on a young quarterback that this is his first season playing. I know he was a rookie last year, but being hurt to say like, hey, I expect him in the Super Bowl when the guy that you could have kept couldn't get them in the Super Bowl and lost in the wild card round last year as a veteran who played his best ball ever, to now to say JJ McCarthy, you have to go beyond that. I think that's a little bit of a stretch for them.
It's a window. I don't think it's what they got that far. They got to go further. Everybody's there together right now. And just right now, you have a quarterback with a rookie wage Now's the window. You're paying everybody. Harrison Smith is still there. You're not going to have him much. All of those, you went and got Aaron Jones to compete to take out the NFC North and win the Super Bowl. Then should they have gone and gotten Aaron Rodgers? Should they have stayed with Sam?
Is Aaron Rodgers and Sam Darnold going to lead their teams to Super Bowls this year? Probably not.
But could they have led the Vikings to a Super Bowl is the question, right?
Sam Darnold couldn't do it last year, right? You had won all these games, and then when it mattered the most, Week 18, we were in Detroit at that game. I mean, he couldn't muster anything. I think they were going to keep Sam Darnold. And that Week 18 game, and then the Rams and the wild card, I think that's what kind of closed the door on. If we're going to get that performance when it matters most, let's wait and see what J.J. McCarthy is in Week 18 and then in the wild card. And I think they felt like they would get something close to that from J.J. McCarthy. And I think the thing with Aaron Rodgers is once you go with him, you have to know his whole reason to be there is to win a Super Bowl and then groom J.J. McCarthy. So if you don't walk away feeling like that is going to be what ends up coming from your football team, then to me, you go chips all in. You pick this guy, you wanted him. You got to go with it and see how it plays out.
What is your hesitation on McCarthy and on this team being a Super Bowl contender?
Green Bay and Detroit. I don't think they're necessarily better than both those teams going in. And it's hard to win the Super Bowl when you're not the best team in your division. It's hard not to do that. And I think for everyone who's watched Green Bay these last 2 weeks, especially the Thursday night game against the Commanders, you walk away like, I mean, they're probably playing the best football in the whole NFL right now when you look at offense, defense, special teams. So I just think for Minnesota, that's going to be an uphill climb because I think they're going to get better. What we see out of Minnesota now isn't going to be what we see in week 15 and 16. But I think the truth that truth can be for Detroit and also for Green Bay. When you talk about adding Micah Parsons, adding a Matthew Golden, you talk about Detroit, new coordinators and all that, they're going to continue to get better too. So I don't think Minnesota wins that race on who's the best team at the end of the year.
You called the Packers-Commanders game. Excellent job, by the way, on Westwood One. I love to hear that. So after I tweeted this yesterday, it made people in the NFC North are crazy fans all across, which I love. But after seeing how good these Packers are, I said the Packers look so great in context of this Lions win. Like, how much better does that make Green Bay's defense look with what the Lions were able to do to Chicago yesterday, 50 plus?
That's what I said. We did a podcast with Chris Sims on Button, and I said, when we start to look at this, everybody was like, man, Detroit's in trouble, the coordinators. And then you watch Thursday night's game, and then you watch Detroit on Sunday. It was like, oh, maybe Green Bay's defense is really legit and one of the top defenses. And I know it's early, so everything we say in 10 weeks might not still be true. But the way that they played Thursday night, and then you see Detroit come in, and I think honestly a little bit of this is Detroit's a better football team than Chicago is right now. And I think that was evident, but the way that they came out, and I thought, Dan Campbell, for whatever everyone was saying, like, oh, this is him without his coordinators. What he is a master motivator. In week 2, to come and tell your team, this is a must win. We have to go win this game. Like that's a lot of pressure and probably not necessary, but I think he created the sense of urgency knowing, all right, Ben Johnson's coming in. Everybody loved him. There's a lot of other coaches on that staff that everybody loved. Let's not turn this into this reunion, happy-go-lucky. We need to go win this game, go punch them in the mouth. And he set the tone for the team early in the week, and it paid off Sunday.
I mean, you're saying pressure. There was no pressure. There was no pressure on Jared Goff. So I'm looking at this. I'm watching this game, right? And I'm from Chicago, and I have a complicated relationship because I'm very realistic. And by the way, Chicago fans, not hearing much from you this morning about this squad. But I'm watching the Bears, and everyone's obsessed with the Ben Johnson, the storyline. And of course, Caleb, those are the sexy things. And while I'm watching, I'm literally watching Roquan score a touchdown with the Ravens. And I'm just looking at like this D-line in Chicago was so much more disappointing to me than Ben and Caleb, who does have chemistry with Rome. And like we saw that play out. Chicago's defense, no sacks yesterday. How can this be? And how is it fixable? They look worse than they looked last year.
It's rough. What ends up happening, my time in New England at the end when Brady left and went to Tampa, what ends up happening is your offense is so bad that your defense plays at this level. And I think everyone walks away and it's just like, man, our defense is good, but if our offense could just get it. And the truth is, you have to see the game in totality of, if I'm a team coming in to play a team that has a bad offense, their defense might not be as good as everyone thinks. I'm just not going to ruin the game by letting their defense get turnovers or be more productive than they should. So you play a certain way. And now Chicago, you had Eberflus, who was doing a good job with the defense. You let him go. And Dennis Allen is a good defensive coordinator as well. But now you're learning a new system. You got people doing different things than they did a year ago. I think getting Edwards back is going to be big for that linebacker and that front seven situation. And, Jalen Johnson coming back in the lineup should be a help. But I think overall, the Chicago Bears, they're a team that you got to hope that all of these lumps that they take throughout the early part of the season start to pay off. You got to hope they can steal a couple wins as they try to get better and learn this new system. I think because of like the Houston Texans, the Commanders last year, we see these new situations, whether with a young quarterback or a new coach, and we're like, oh, they did it. Why can't we do it? And it doesn't work like that for everybody. So I think Chicago's going to be a work in progress. I think Caleb Williams has gotten better from what we've seen these first 2 weeks. It's not perfect, but it looks better. Some of the things that they're trying to fix. I think some of his timing stuff is better. I think who Caleb Williams is at his core is what we see. We see the free kind of running right and throwing a ball on a dime that is like so hard to do. It's the jump cuts when he's scrambling. But I think they're getting better at, he doesn't always stare at the rush. There are times where he hits the back foot, the timing's right, and he lets the ball rip. Roma Dunze, their connection, like you see some of those things coming to life. It's just not all happening right away. And I think he has more pressure on him because you go and you look at Jaden Daniels, you look at Bo Nix, you look at Michael Penix Jr., everyone wants Drake May. Everyone wants to say, I want Caleb to be the best of the bunch out of all of them. But Caleb Williams has had a ton of offensive coordinators, and it's only his second year. So he'll figure it out. And I think this team will have a chance. This division's tough, man. You have a lot of good teams in this division.
But it sounds like would you agree that they have their coach?
I think so. I think you do nothing but harm your franchise quarterback that you took number one by only giving Ben Johnson, call it 2 years or, a year and 8 games. Like, I think you got to say, we picked this guy for a reason. Let's just let it play out. Let's not have 2 bad games in a row and 1 bad coaching decision and be like, you know what, we were wrong, and then move on and then blame Caleb Williams, get rid of him, and then start this carousel all over again.
It's I'm gonna ask you a really tough question. I bet it's like when a teacher was asked, like, do you like Jason or Devin better? Like, which one? Who do you like more?
They said Devin.
Of course. So maybe this will be an easy question for you. Packers or Lions? Who are you more in on?
I'm more in on the Packers. I think what they're doing right now, you have a team, and it reminds me a little bit of the 2014 Patriots team I was on. We had a good team. We had gone to AFC championships. We lost a Super Bowl in 2011, and then we went and we brought in Darrelle Revis. And for us, Darrelle Revis, he impacted our game and allowed us to do things that we weren't necessarily being able to do the prior years. And we had him for the whole year. And some of the things we did, we were able to do with Talib, but then he got hurt in 2 AFC championship games. And we get Revis. And I think everyone going into the season was like, that we got it. Like, this is the missing piece that we now needed. And I think for Green Bay, when you watch them play, that's how they're playing. I talked to Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, before this game Thursday night. He said, this is the hardest defense I've ever seen practice. He said, we have a bunch of young, hungry guys flying around at practice. Everybody's touching off on the ball. Everyone's flying around. And when he said it to me before the game, I'm like, all right, well, we gonna see. Like, you got Jaden Daniels in this Commanders team. And it's exactly what it looked like. The defense swarming around, they're all over. And then Jordan Love has so many options. When he just doesn't make up his mind before the snap of, I want to throw it to this guy, just reads the play out. They're a hard team to stop. Jaden Reed goes out early, doesn't slow him down at all. Tucker Kraft just says, you know what? I'll have a night. There's just so many weapons. I really like the Packers.
Backup quarterbacks for the story yesterday. We're going to get, of course, into Drake May. I have to think of the right question to ask you on Drake May. So I want to start you with Joe Burrow. It's how I started the show with the news this morning. Of course, he'll be out 3 months getting surgery. That is a tough thing to swallow if you're a Bengals fan. I tried to be like Pollyanna and lift them up with how Jake Browning could do here, but they've got a really tough 5-game stretch here coming up. Real tough. If you look at it, it is at Vikings. I think we have it. We have a full screen of it, right, guys? Okay, here it is. At Vikings, at Broncos, Lions at home, at Packers, and Steelers. I mean, who should they bring in? Do you have faith in Browning? What should I think and how should I feel about these Bengals?
Yeah, I mean, look, Browning's one of the better backup quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's not Joe Burrow. I think for Joe Burrow, the worst thing that happened to him, and Bengals fans will be mad, or some will understand, is that he's a Cincinnati Bengal. Like, that's the worst thing. I hate the way this Bengals organization has built this team. Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I think out of the top 4 quarterbacks, Joe Burrow's the absolute best at getting to the line of scrimmage, reading a defense, knowing what they're in, and knowing exactly where he needs to go with the ball. When you say that, why is he always under pressure? Why is their pressure rate always in the bottom of the NFL? Because they haven't truly invested in the offensive line. Yeah, they have Mims, a first-round pick. You have Orlando Brown, who you got from Baltimore. But other than that, a lot of their picks have been invested in weapons to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You look at Jermaine Burton as a 3rd-round pick, another receiver you bring in when you had Yoshi Vosh already playing. I just think they've built this team just so wrong. You have this stud quarterback. Let's make sure he's always out there. Let's invest in our offensive line. Let's be good in the trenches. They still haven't invested in the defense. So even though we watched this game and they won these first 2 games, I don't think anybody walks away saying like, man, that defense is fixed. They're going to be great now. The thing their defense has done in the first 2 games, create turnovers. When you have a good quarterback and a good offense, if you create turnovers, you'll have a chance. But now when you take Burrow out of that situation, I don't like the Bengals odds going throughout this season.
Well, what should they have done? Not paid Jamar, not paid T maybe, and gotten a big, like, what should they have done differently?
That was my thing. And I know how much Joe wanted T to be there and what they've been able to build. But I just think you sit Joe down and you say, listen, this is about winning Super Bowls. Like, you guys will be a special offense, but if we want to be contenders, we gotta kind of evaluate this situation and go into investing in different things. Because when you look at some of these great teams that have won year after year, it's not with all of their money tied up in the quarterback and 2 receivers. Like, that's just not it, you know? So I think T. Higgins is a guy that I think had great value, you know, either letting him walk or maybe you traded him a year prior and trying to get assets to invest and having some kind of blue chip guys on that defense or a couple blue chip guys protecting Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow's ability to make the guys around him better, I think would show. I think this young kid, Tinsley, with Burrow out there, I think we would have seen him get better and better and better and be a playmaker, because that's what it means to have a guy like Joe Burrow at the quarterback position.
But the best offensive line he had in these 5 years, I went to 27th. Just not,
think about that.
No, it is. But it is insane. But then it's like, but we're also quite, I was talking about this. I said all of these things on the morning call, but I was like, but Joe wasn't, at least in front of the media, saying like, I want an offensive lineman. He was getting them samurai swords. So it's like, and how much say should he have? Or does he have? Or, by the way, the T thing, I think ownership loves T. I think it's like, no, we got to make a way. Like, T's been here. We want to, but yeah, at a certain point, like, they got to protect Browning. It's not looking good. And they, you know, even just like, I was thinking like schematically, like they don't have that like Jonathan Taylor piece to like also alleviate some of that, give him the ball, make it more balanced. Like they don't, it's always like 3rd and 20, 2nd and 19. And you know, this, you know, what's coming. And this sort of thing happens. So I'm understanding the frustration of Bengals fans everywhere. But let's talk about Drake May. I don't know what to say because it was against the Dolphins, but y'all are always cursed against the Dolphins. You know that I know that well. I've been to those games where I'm like, how are we losing? But somehow the curse is broken. Did what he looked like yesterday convince you that Pats fans should sort of turn the corner and buy in more than ever before. He looked phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, Pats fans need to be this. They need to grab hands with the Chicago Bears fans and say, listen, we got these young stud quarterbacks and we gave them multiple offensive coordinators in 2 years. That's ridiculous. But from talking to Drake May in the preseason, he said he loves the offense he's in with Josh McDaniels. He said Josh is in his ear when he goes to the line of scrimmage. He's never had that before. So that's a new adjustment. He said he likes that he has now control. Hey, I want the offensive line. I want you guys to slide this way. Hey, I know this guy's going to be free off the edge. I got to get the ball out before he gets here. Like when quarterbacks have that kind of control, it allows you to dictate and manipulate the offense to best take advantage of the defense. And I think you saw that. Even this touchdown pass to Booty, I don't know if that's called. That might be him coming to the line of scrimmage and saying, I like this one-on-one matchup that I have out here. So I think for Drake May, he's going to keep getting better the more time he spends with Josh. Josh told me he loves Drake. He said Drake came in and was like, Josh, give me everything. I want to learn everything. I'm here to come in early, stay late. I want to be the best I can be at this position, and I know you can get me there. So I think it was week 2. We saw a little bit of progression. Now, I will say that with also saying Miami does not look good. The defense doesn't look good overall as a team. Seems like there's a lot of problems, but you still have to go on the road in Miami, like you said, where the Patriots have struggled. You go down there, you get a win. I think that's going to be huge for this young team under Vrabel of trying to believe in those cores that he's teaching and get wins so you can get more and more confident along the way.
I'm just going to give you your moment here, Dev, because you have been talking to me about Mac Jones for the longest. And then I would just like to know, tell me about the smile you had in watching him. And granted, it's Christian McCaffrey, it's Kyle Shanahan wanted him. Like, what were you thinking? And how validated did you feel watching him have such success backing up Brock Purdy for the Niners yesterday in their win?
I was so happy for him. I think, as we sat in there and Chris Sims is pretty close with Kyle Shanahan from their time at Texas. And he said it. He was like they liked Mac Jones. Like they really did. So for Mac to get this opportunity, I think is awesome for him. And I think Mac plays a certain way. And when you can keep him in that rhythm of playing, and I think one thing that they did a good job of is you can see right here, it's 0-0. Now you score a touchdown, you're playing from ahead. And I've always thought that is the key for Mac. Mac struggles a little bit when it's not going well to start. He kind of he could be too hard on himself. He could get in a little bit of a funk. And when you're the quarterback and that happens, it kind of just trickles down throughout the whole team. They did a good job. He took advantage of some mismatches, throwing a touchdown to McCaffrey in that game. So Mac is a very cerebral, very smart quarterback. If he knows what he wants to do and understands the offense, he can figure out some defenses and get the ball where it needs to go. So I think San Francisco is going to be in good hands, and I'm pretty sure Purdy felt a lot better today than he felt Sunday morning watching Mac. He's like, man, this toe got to get right, and I got to get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, and I liked seeing that they had some camaraderie on the sidelines, which I like. I guess I didn't realize that Mac was like swaggy. That's what they were saying. And he obviously has a rapport with Kendrick Bourne that we saw, but Bosa was like, he's got swag. And then I saw him dancing with the D line too, in the when they were going out. What is that?
Mac got that Duval in him. He's from Jacksonville. He's got a little culture, a little bit in him. So I always thought it was hilarious. He would come and, pre-practice, we got the music playing. Mac's over there dancing, no rhythm, no anything, but he's got a little bit of that, So, And I think again, when you can bring that to a team, especially when they lose their starting quarterback, there's a part of your heart that hurts when you lose one of your guys and it's your starting quarterback. And when you can have a guy that can come in and bring some energy to the huddle, to the team, I think that's big. And now the next thing for him is he has to continue to play well, and that team will start believing in him. And look, if I'm Mac, I'm trying to get on the Sam Darnold plan. Sam Darnold went over there to San Francisco, played there as a backup. Next thing you know, he's in Minnesota, starting. Now he gets paid down in Seattle. So I'm pretty sure knowing Mac, that's his vision, and this is now the first step. It happened a little sooner than he probably thought of him having to go on the field and win and play. Now you have to go actually play well, which is a little different. Darnold didn't have to do it for a long stretch, but now Mac is going to get the opportunity. So he might walk right into a starting position next year if he can handle this and do a good job of it.
This is the question I put in the rundown here after the morning meeting. I don't need names from you, but I would like to know how many current named NFL starters is Mac Jones a better quarterback than?
Oh. I'm careful to say that because this is one game where he went in. He was a starting quarterback.
Yes.
It didn't look good. So it's hard to necessarily say. There's not, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's not many guys that I would say I would rather have Mac over than some of these starters. I mean, I look at New Orleans, I would take Mac over their quarterback room. But I would have to do a deep dive and really think about who I would say I'd rather have Mac Jones than these guys.
At least I thought you were going to say half the league just because you could take a victory lap on how good he looked, but he got himself a win. And like you said, he has an opportunity to show what he can do and get on that Sam Darnold program. TV break here. We're still very much live on YouTube. And we got to talk about Chiefs, Eagles, which the billings was like that, this is the game. This is the game of the week, whatever. And they sort of like push their way to victory, right? Against the Chiefs. And again, the passing game is the focus. The Chiefs are in this 0 for 2 group with the Bears and the Browns, and it's like some tough teams here. What sort of is sticking out to you and how they can potentially right the ship? Obviously, it's the receivers.
Yeah, there's a real concern to me for the Chiefs because I think for anybody who's played the game, you don't sit there and play games and be like, we'll be good when Worthy and Rice get back. Like, that's just not a realistic approach to going out there and playing. So I think from right now for them is, Kay, as we say here, we go, what's the top play or the top thing when you play the Chiefs defensively that you have to worry about? Mm-hmm. And I would say Mahomes scramble is their best play.
He's the leading rusher again.
Yes, and it's by a lot, which is ridiculous. So they can't run the football. Tyquan Thornton's speed is real, but that's the only real challenge out there for the defense is that Tyquan Thornton is fast. It's not like he's fast and he's just like this game changer. I don't think people see him that way. So I think they got to figure out a way to be more productive. And then when Worthy gets back and Rashee Rice gets back, now you can implement those guys and take off. But I don't think it's good for them to sit here and maybe be like, hey, we're now 2-4 and we're going to get these guys back and hope that we go on this crazy run because those guys are going to have to knock some rust off and get back in the flow of things. So I worry a little bit about them that they don't have something that week in and week out. Andy Reid can draw his game plan up and say, man, if I get Kelsey in this matchup, I'll go to this over and over again. If I get Juju here, I can do this. If I get this guy, I don't think he has that right now. And I think that's been the hard thing for this offense to get going.
Their running backs averaged like 3 yards a pop yesterday. I put this on Threads. I was just like watching and I said, this Patrick Mahomes scrambling does not an entire offense make. Like you can't do that. You aren't able to. And then when you talk about Kelsey, like Kelsey maybe can't, he doesn't have to help them, but he can't hurt them, and there's like all these weird things happening. And then I do think like they miss, Hollywood Brown feels like a bit of a miss. As far as like putting this team together, and Veach is so good at all these things. Thornton, and they took some chances, but it just felt like the Eagles just like slowly crushed them. Like on one of those things like on TikTok where they like crush things and it explodes. Like that's what it felt like to me by the fourth quarter. And I was like, man, yet somehow in Philly this morning on WIP radio, Devin, Eagles fans are like, I don't like this offense, Oh, we're gonna get back on the TV side. Back on the TV side. So the Eagles, obviously, they do their thing. Are you noticing what's like the biggest difference between Kellen Moore, who's a stud, and Kevin Patullo, where the jury's still out for Eagles fans and the like?
Well, I think this happens every year. Eagles fans slow down. Like I know Kellen Moore ended up being awesome at the end of the year. We were talking about the Eagles' offensive struggles all throughout the season. They almost lost to the Panthers last year. The offense was too basic. They're not doing it. These were the same things that we heard last year. The Eagles they Kansas City Chiefs the Chiefs yesterday. Like that's what it was. We don't play our best ball. Nothing looks great. But then at the end of the day, we do and we make enough plays to go win the game. And I think Jalen Hurts said that after the game. We made the plays we needed to make to win. That's what we used to say about the Eagles. So about the Chiefs. So Eagles fans, be mad, want the offense to look better. I'm all for that. But be happy that your team is going out there and they're getting wins as they're figuring some things out, doing this, doing that. Just know you're getting wins. But again, the Eagles I don't think they looked great Thursday night when we were in Philadelphia against the Cowboys, but they figured out a way to win. It was Jalen Hurts using his legs. This game, It was, Devontae Smith coming up with a big play, the defense playing good, Makuba making a big-time interception on the goal line. So they do small things that show up in the game, and then they figure out a way to win. That mystique is real. When you play teams and they know you figure out a way to win, it's in the back of their mind the whole game.
The Eagles have not lost a game with a healthy Hurts since September 29th of last year. I'm not falling for this. Let me tell you, what just happened here will never again happen on the show all season long. I am not wasting time on clowning the Eagles, questioning them, AJ Brown on the sideline, reading a book, whatever. I'm not falling for it. I'm not even doing that. The Chiefs too. Chiefs week 5 on, I think, depending on how the Chargers look tonight, and keep looking. But AJ Brown, 35 total yards to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, world. This is my notice to you. I'm not doing it. I will ask you about the tush push though, because
this is the last year.
This is all the rage though. All the rage on Twitter is that people think that there's just there's 17 penalties on these plays. It looks like the linemen move before the ball. I mean, they do. The linemen move before the ball is snapped. What should we be thinking about this?
We should enjoy it. If you're in Philadelphia, and I think I heard somebody say it too. I think that's why Sirianni called it so much yesterday. He's like, man, we got to keep running this play while we can because this play will be gone next year. You watch it, it doesn't look good. Like when you watch it aesthetically, it doesn't look like the rest of the game. You got people moving. People always line up off sides, whether on offense or on defense. It's just not a play that people call like a football play. So I think this is the last year of it. And it's unfortunate for the Eagles because they created something that has been virtually unstoppable. When they needed a yard, 2 yards, almost sometimes 3 yards, they've gotten this formation and they've pushed their way to a first down, to a touchdown. So, but it'll be gone, but they'll still have Saquon Barkley. It'll still help. It'll still help them out, and that'll work a little bit in their favor as well. But the tush push, you're on your last legs, that's for sure.
I love to hear that. What was your biggest surprise of week 2, Dev?
The Colts. I think everyone felt like the AFC South was wrapped up with Houston and CJ Stroud. And you look at Daniel Jones. Again, what did he do last year? When he left the Giants, he said, you know what? I'm going to go spend some time down in Minnesota. I'm going to spend some time with Kevin O'Connell, the new quarterback whisperer. And I remember week 18, I was talking to him. How's it been? It's been awesome. I'm learning a lot. I'm with Josh McCown. I'm with Kevin O'Connell. And I think you have that. And then you go to Indy with Shane Steichen, another really good offensive mind. When you turn on their game, I just watched the film back. It's a lot of good play calls. It's bootlegs, it's run game with Jonathan Taylor. Then it's taking advantage of these one-on-one matchups where when you look, I know they're not talked about a lot, but when you look at the Colts' offensive weapons, they are towards the top of the league. When you look at what Daniel Jones gets to throw to when he drops back, he has Warren at tight end, Alec Pierce, a big, strong, fast receiver down the field. Pittman, a good possession guy. Then you have Josh Downs in the slot, quick, fast. Oh, yeah, and then when you think you get a break, we're going to put A.D. Mitchell in there, and you're going to have to deal with him. So it's weapons everywhere, big offensive line that was able to move Denver, which doesn't happen very much, but move them and create holes in the running game. I thought that was impressive. Now, again, Denver fell apart a little bit in this game, right? You miss a field goal, kind of a chip shot indoors, and then you get a leveraging penalty on a 60-yard game-winning field goal that's missed. Like, those are things that you can't do as a team, but give Indy credit. You showed up, you made the plays that you needed when you needed them, and you won the game.
Speaking of Daniel Jones, former team, the Giants, great on offense. Like Russell looked great. Him and Neighbors, all these things in their defense. I mean, or the Cowboys defense just like let Russell cook.
But the
right?
Cowboys stopped the run. They stopped the run, Kay. That's what
Mm.
they wanted to do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that didn't help much.
Are the Cowboys cooked?
They're not cooked because what we're not talking about because of all of the Jerry and Micah stuff is Dak Prescott looks damn good in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Okay.
He has made the plays to keep this team in it. I mean, were a few CeeDee Lamb catches in week 1 from talking about the Dallas Cowboys upsetting the defending champions on the road opening night. So again, Dak has been on the money. He's kept them in games. He's made the right plays because Lord knows against the Giants, their defense did everything possible to try to give away the game. I mean, they play majority zone coverage. Stay as deep as the deep is. They got the ball thrown over their heads multiple times, and Dak Prescott never blinked. He just went right back on the field, did what he had to do. Hey, Aubrey, all right, I know you got an amazing foot, but I'm going to get us to where we need to get to so you can kick. All right, I'm going to scramble now in overtime and make that kick a little easier. So I think Dak Prescott, I think he deserves a ton of credit. For one, he's the leader in that locker room of getting them through Jerry Jones, Micah, and all of that stuff. And then his performance and his play on the field has been a difference. But Jerry Jones said, Micah, the run and all that, they miss Micah Parsons. The Green Bay Packers, they were chanting after the game, thank you, Jerry, because Micah he's a difference maker when you get in those passing situations. Russell Wilson just threw for 450 yards against you. Like that is crazy. And not a lot of pass rush. And Micah said it. Any team he's on, there's going to be an all-pro corner. You know what that means? When he leaves, there probably won't be an all-pro corner because there is no Micah Parsons rushing the passer.
Very well said. And I think you just gave Dallas some faith there. And let's not pretend the Giants defense is bad. Like they're a great defense. And he was still able to answer every time. I love the faith in Dak. We're going to take a short TV break. I'm going to get your, I have one question to ask, and this is why you guys should subscribe to the YouTube. I'm going to hop over to Vegas tonight to see this game.
Look at you.
I'd like to know what you expect in this one, because if the Chargers go 2-0, there's like they're 3-point faves on the road. I think it means a lot of things. It means a lot more worry for the Chiefs. I think like that's their contender there in the AFC West. What's one thing that I'll be sitting there in my suite thinking, Devin told me that's going to happen?
What I like about the Chargers in this game is when you look at week 1, the Patriots were super aggressive against the Raiders, and Geno Smith, he destroyed them, throwing the ball all over the field. You're not going to see that from the Chargers. They're going to be aggressive in their front, but in the second, they're going to keep everything in front of them, and they're going to be running downhill, smacking and hitting people. So I look for the Raiders to try to get the run game going, but I think they're going to struggle a little bit tonight offensively. The other key thing I'm looking for is the Chargers offense real, right? Is Johnson, is this his year? Is Keenan Allen still going to be Mr. Third Down? You know, I think that's the thing that we have to see. They looked amazing against a good Kansas City Chiefs defense in week 1. How much of that can carry over against this Raiders defense? How can they continue to show up and make plays? I thought they protected Herbert really well, even though you lost Rashawn Slater in the preseason.
Yeah.
So how can they keep that up? But I think the Raiders will struggle a little bit compared to week 1 offensively.
You think the Chargers go 2-0?
I do. I think the Chargers do. I think we had them in the Hall of Fame game, and I was big on it. I'm tired of hearing about how talented Justin Herbert is. Every time somebody lists a top 10, they put him over the likes of Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, and they're like, well, Dak Prescott, he hasn't done anything, and Jalen Hurts, he has this all-star lineup. I'm like, well, what has Justin Herbert done? Why do we keep giving him a pass? Like, he needs to will this team. And the guy I saw in week 1, he willed that team. He said, like, we're beating the Chiefs tonight. And I think if he's turning that page and Harbaugh's really bringing that out of him, this might be the year the Chargers say, this is our division and it's time to make a run.
I could see like late playoffs, they're still showing that slide from Sao Paulo at the end of the game where he's like, that's, you know, that
No
is
doubt.
his defining little play and moment. We have 30 seconds left. I'll ask you, what is Tom Brady going to surprise me with today? What do you know?
So who knows?
What's the surprise?
Some kind of gear he's going to come in. I just wonder with Tom, do we have a Patriots t-shirt on under all of this Raiders gear?
Great question.
maybe Tampa Bay socks. They shouldn't get more than just socks. But like, do we have like maybe a Patriots t-shirt and underwear as close as possible to his heart? Like those type of things. Because like he's a Patriot and I get it. Like if they give me ownership in the team, I'm running with it too. But does he still rock some of the Patriots gear underneath? That's what you got to ask him.
I don't have any appropriate comment in response to that about what's going on.
But you're in his suite tonight, aren't you?
Tom, I will maybe see him. Maybe I won't. Devin, I appreciate you. Love you so much. We love you in Purple Line America. You are incredible. And we'll talk to you hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Good to see you, Kay.
Good to see you. 3-time Super Bowl champ Devin McCourty. So happy when he makes time for my little old show. Me and Devin go, of course, way back. And listen, I convinced FanDuel Sportsbook to let me do these like Exhibit when he used to pimp my ride and customize stuff. That's kind of what I did here. Okay. We have some custom menu items. Okay. These are things you cannot bet on anywhere outside of FanDuel. Okay, I had to beg for these things. So here it is. It's under the K Adams M&F tab. Get in on the action. At first, let me see what I got here this week. Oh, I want to look at the rookie running backs. Okay, Chargers, Raiders. You got both. You got some flexibility here. If you want to play it safe, you can take Amari Hampton or Ashton Genty to score a touchdown, or you can get them to combine for 2 or more touchdowns. I like at plus 270. You cannot get this combo anywhere. Oh, you guys already moved on before I did. Bucks, Texans. I like Mike Evans or Emeka Ibuka, as you're seeing here. That's the menu special for tonight. I like them to score a touchdown against the tough Texans secondary. We got to get rid of this music. You're killing me with a loud restaurant music. Stingley, we know him. We love him. Hopefully he doesn't make it rough for them. He can't erase both, right? It's going to be one or the other. And that's why I like one of them to be a touchdown scorer in this one. Got a nice little insurance policy, whoever Derek Stingley likely isn't covering. And then in the late game, Justin Herbert, Geno Smith. I think they combine. Again, you can't bet this anywhere else other than FanDuel. They combine for 550 plus passing yards. They both put up a show in week 1, the surf and turf. I think we get more fireworks tonight in Vegas. There you go. They're custom specials. You basically can only, I'm telling you, you can only find them on FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a Pimp My Ride exhibit special here. Okay, go to K's F menu, join the tab, and get in on